This is a home theater. We're in the future. The LG Eclair is one of the smallest speakers on the market today to feature Dolby Atmos. Yes, this tiny speaker is half of a complete home theater setup. That is, once you throw in the included wireless subwoofer. See how easy that was? When you do that, you get a 3.1.2 Dolby Atmos speaker package. And the main bar features a dedicated left, center, and right speaker, each powered by their own 20-watt amplifier. There are also two dedicated left and right upward firing drivers, again, driven by their own 20-watt amp. The subwoofer, on the other hand, does get a little bit more power, possessing its own 220-watt amplifier. In terms of connection options, the Eclair has two HDMI ports. One is an HDMI out with ARC and eARC support, and the other is an actual HDMI 2.1 input, though it does not support 4K 120 or 8K 60. Other connection options include an optical audio input, USB, as well as Bluetooth connectivity. Now, the Eclair will pass through Dolby Vision and HDR10 signals, as well as playback Dolby Atmos and DTS:X soundtracks. Control over the Eclair system is tackled using the included remote or via the LG Soundbar app, which allows for full control over the speaker's levels, tone, and more. In terms of setup, the Eclair is among the easiest soundbars on the planet to install. You set it down, connect an HDMI cable between the Eclair and your TV, plug in the bar and the subwoofer, and you're done. No, really, that's it. If you don't want to use the app, the included remote will let you switch between the system's 4 sound modes, as well as control input and volume, but more than likely, once you're connected to your TV, you'll simply use your existing TV remote to raise and lower volume on the Eclair. To gain access to the Eclair's higher functionality, you need to download the free LG Soundbar app. Then place it in its Bluetooth mode, connect your phone or tablet to the Eclair via Bluetooth, and then let the app go to work. The app allows you to tailor the Eclair's sound in ways even costlier soundbars don't always allow. The level of adjustment given to users through the app is impressive, and I applaud LG for continuing to let customers achieve the sound they like, rather than building a system that locks you into what the manufacturer wants for you. However, there is one thing worth noting. When listening to Atmos soundtracks, you are not able to adjust the Eclair's sound profile. You just get Atmos, which isn't always ideal. So let's talk about this bar's Atmos performance. For me, Atmos is this system's weakest link. Now, before some of you start shouting,
"That's because soundbars suck, Andrew,"
just hold up a minute. While the Eclair's Atmos performance may not be for me, its overall sound quality is better than it has any right to be. So try and bear with me as we dissect the LG just a little bit further. Now, the Eclair will play back an Atmos soundtrack, and when doing so, the sound is surprisingly spacious and far larger than you'd expect coming from a bar of this size. The problem is that it just doesn't quite come together in the most convincing way. The sound, again, this is with Atmos soundtracks, is more hollow, compressed, and artificial sounding compared to its other sound modes. Some content was worse than others, but the compression was there regardless of what we watched, with more complex scenes causing some listener fatigue at higher volumes. Unfortunately, when presented with an Atmos soundtrack, you cannot switch to another sound mode. You can still adjust the individual speaker levels, not to mention have control over the treble and bass, but you are locked into LG's Atmos processing. But turn off Atmos and put the Eclair into AI sound or cinema and whoa. Now, when watching the same content, for example, Ghostbusters Afterlife, but with Atmos turned off and with the Eclair's cinema profile engaged, the sound shored up and became far more balanced and less echoey. What's more, the scale and size of the Eclair's front stage didn't really diminish at all. If anything, it sounded more convincing rather than gimmicky. And let's discuss the LG's surround sound prowess. For a bar that isn't even a foot long, this tiny thing sounds way bigger. While it will not surround you in 360-degree sound, the wall of sound it does produce totally aligned with the visuals being presented on our 85-inch Sony X95J, so big props to LG for that. Now, diving deeper into the Eclair's overall sonic character. First, the included subwoofer is shockingly capable. While not the most agile or the snappiest with respect to dynamics, it does blend rather nicely with the Eclair straight out of the box and with little to no adjustment needed, at least in our room. Sure, a sub like the SVS 3000 Micro will outperform the LG, but at this price point, the Eclair's wireless sub holds its own. It even managed to surprise me during Ghostbusters with its ability to reach satisfying depths without a great deal of resonance. With respect to the Eclair speaker, the sound is on the cooler or leaner side, but this isn't a bad thing, nor is it unique among smaller soundbars like the LG. As you might expect, body, especially with respect to the mid-range, is a little bit lacking, though detail and intelligibility is impressive. If you have difficulty discerning dialogue, the Eclair may be a worthwhile upgrade to your TV's speakers on the strength of its dialogue delivery alone. Highs are clean and articulate, but clearly digital sounding, as they lack appreciable or organic air surrounding each note. At high volumes, the Eclair's treble can showcase some sibilance, which you can get around by turning the treble down a notch or two, which is nice. But overall, while the Eclair system prioritizes detail, dynamics, and clarity over absolute neutrality, I don't think those of you who may be familiar with soundbars or who already have a soundbar, say in another room, will be disappointed by the LG sound. I found it to be on par with a lot of costlier and larger soundbars on the market right now. Now, one area where I think the Eclair isn't the best is with music. It's good for casual or background listening, but as a replacement for a larger soundbar or dedicated stereo setup, even one using powered speakers like the 5s from KLIPSCH, the Eclair comes up just a bit short. I know its music profile has been tuned by the good folks at Meridian, but for me, I prefer the AI sound and cinema sound profiles more. Honestly, I would leave the Eclair in its AI sound profile, leave well enough alone regardless of what I was watching or listening to. On the whole, I have to say, I went into this review with very few expectations, and I have come away pleasantly surprised. Obviously, I would have loved if the Eclair sounded a little bit better with Dolby Atmos signals, as I feel that is one of the selling points, at least from LG's perspective. Had the Eclair not sounded good in its AI or cinema sound profiles, this would have been a much different review. But the truth is, for those looking to upgrade their TV sound without breaking the bank or requiring you to have to find a home for multiple speakers or a larger soundbar, the Eclair is totally worth a look. I actually really like it. It's so unobtrusive, not to mention is one of the easiest soundbars to set up and live with day to day. Some other things to be aware of. If you are a smart home enthusiast, the Eclair does come up a bit short in this arena, as it does not support Alexa or Google Assistant or anything. In fact, it doesn't connect to Wi-Fi at all. Instead, control via the app is handled over Bluetooth, which you may have to reconnect from time to time. Also, when watching Netflix, we would occasionally hear a high-pitched digital noise that lasted for just a split second when switching between previews. And I've heard this noise before through other soundbars, but none with the same regularity as through the Eclair. The good news is this sound never happened during actual playback, and it only occurred when using Netflix. Still, it is a minor annoyance, but it's not one that would deter me from enjoying the LG long term. If you're cross-shopping, POLK Audio's MAGNIFI Mini, Definitive Technologies Studio 3D Mini, and the new Sonos Beam 2 are the most likely comparison, both in terms of form factor as well as price. Sadly, I have not heard any of these options myself, so I can't say how they compare to the LG directly. That said, the MAGNIFI Mini from POLK, while cheaper, is not an Atmos-capable bar, though it does have a few more connection options by way of Wi-Fi and Google Cast for those of you needing to stream that way. As for the DevTech, it's a little more expensive, not to mention larger, so this may be a compact solution for those needing just a bit more oomph over what the LG can give. That said, while the DevTech is stylish in its own right, sporting kind of a stealth fighter plane vibe, I prefer the more supple lines of the LG. As for the Beam 2, I hope to bring you this review soon because, well, I'm tired of not knowing what Sonos sounds like, just as much as I'm sure you all are tired of me not knowing, so stay tuned. And as for larger soundbars near the LG's asking price, I still recommend customers consider bars like KLIPSCH's Cinema 600 system. While the 600 is not an Atmos-capable soundbar, given that I prefer the Eclair's non-Atmos performance, these two bars suddenly become a bit more comparable. Although the LG gives you more control over the sound via its app versus what KLIPSCH gives you even after their recent update. And for those of you who want a better two-channel experience but still want the simplicity of a soundbar system like the Eclair, the 5s from KLIPSCH remain high on my recommended list, especially given their lower price point compared to costlier options like KEF's LS50 wireless 2s. So in the end, the Eclair proved to be a rather interesting product for me. While I may have been a little bit disappointed in its actual Dolby Atmos surround performance, overall, I came away pleasantly surprised. Is it the perfect soundbar? No. Is it the best soundbar under $1,000? No. But do I still like it? Yeah. I really enjoyed its simplicity, design, and flexibility. We've been on the hunt for a simple soundbar solution that will improve intelligibility for KRISTI when watching movies at night in our bedroom, and to that end, I've put the LG on my shortlist. And if you're on the market for a speaker to enhance the sound of your existing TV and you don't want a lot of fuss and you just want to get on with the show, the LG Eclair is definitely worth a look. So that's it. That is now my review of LG's Eclair soundbar system. Now it's time to find out what KRISTI thought of it.
Okay, well, minus the screeching noise it makes when flipping through Netflix, I thought this was such a fun review.
It was.
I mean, it is crazy what engineers are able to achieve in such small form factors these days. I mean, personally, I see this as the future of audio. Like it or not, because I know some of you are going to have to be dragged along kicking and screaming, but this is where we're headed. Sure, there will always be a small market for traditional 2-channel audio, but I think we would all be kidding ourselves if we didn't stop and recognize the possibilities that something like the Eclair is going to give us.
Yeah.
And I think that that's great.
Yeah, I have to agree. Whether or not the Eclair is the end-all, be-all, or not. If you want to call this a concept, or proof of concept, if you want to call it a full-fledged product, or you want to call it an actual whatever. The truth of the matter is over the years, soundbars have grown by leaps and bounds in terms of their quality. And now it appears that we can get quality and even more compact size. So KRISTI's absolutely right. This is where audio is going. And the good news is that while there may be some sacrifices along the way, or some sacrifices now, I just don't think those sacrifices are going to be sticking with us for the long haul. And I can hear some people sitting there going, you can't fight physics and da-da-da-da-da, and there's no replacement for displacement. And it's like, you're right, but there's a lot of things we thought we couldn't do 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago that we can do now. So it's best to just kind of keep an open mind.
Absolutely. I mean, come on. It's time at some point, you have to start accepting some of these advancements and quit living in
the past.
I mean, nostalgia is great and everything, but you can't just ignore what's happening in front of you.
Yeah.
Now, look, I am not saying that this system sounds as good as a full home theater, but I do think if you give it some time, I think it will get there.
Yeah.
But overall, to me, it's really important that you understand who a product is for. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that this is a really, really great option if you live in a small apartment, maybe you're in a dorm room, or you just want something a little better than your TV speakers in a secondary room, like maybe your bedroom or an office, but you don't have the space or maybe the furniture. Now, the Atmos performance wasn't a big deal for me, but I think not supporting 4K 120 and 8K 60 is a huge, huge missed opportunity for LG, because I could really see gamers picking up one of these, otherwise.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. I'm not going to lie. It would be nice to just have that support. And we know that those chips, those boards exist out in the world. Maybe they didn't at the time when the Eclair was being developed, but the saving grace for the Eclair and the workaround for this is if you currently have a 4K 120 or 8K 60 capable television from LG or Vizio or Sony or whoever makes it, you can always plug your consoles directly into those HDMI ports on your TV and still send the sound out to the Eclair. So there are workarounds, but I agree.
I just think if you're really thinking about who might be actually buying something like this.
Absolutely.
Because look, let's face it, it's not the guy who's, been investing in hi-fi for, 60 years.
Yeah.
Probably not, unless they're, just downsizing and forced to go that route. But when you really think about it, this is probably aimed at a slightly younger audience.
Sure.
with less space to deal with, and look that stuff like gaming is going to be really important to them. So I could see this being maybe the thing that keeps them from buying it. So it's just something that hopefully maybe when they come out with a version 2 or
for sure,
or whatever, maybe if there's something different that comes out to replace the Eclair in the future, maybe they will, allocate those resources.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to do that, take it all the way. Put in, Wi-Fi, AirPlay, and all that added stuff that just makes it easier to connect with and enjoy the system. But on the whole, I think it gives you just about everything that you need to get up and running simply without giving you stuff or too much that would otherwise overwhelm you. Like, what do I do? What do I use? It's like, it really is kind of a plug and play solution. And that I really liked about it.
Yeah, it was super easy. And the fact that it comes with a subwoofer at this price makes it really competitive.
And it's stylish. The sub is nice and stylish.
Yeah, it is. It's not, and it's small, but it's producing good sound.
Very good sound.
That was really impressive. And then on top of it, considering I've seen this package go for something as low as like $350, $400, it makes it kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think it has enormous possibilities. So, anything else? That's it? All right. Well, that is now our review of LG's Eclair soundbar system. What did you guys think? Let us know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, I have a question of the day for you. I almost forgot it, but here you go. Where do you see the Eclair working in your home? This is a flexible system, so get creative. Let us know, how would you deploy the Eclair in your home if looking for a soundbar like this? Let's get a conversation going. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Go ahead and ring that bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. If you use any of the links that KRISTI left for you down below, know that that is a great way that you have continued to show your support for this channel and the work that we do here. And both of us thank you all very, very much for doing that. Follow me on Instagram at Recovering Audiophile, and that is it for us today. So remember, the only person who has to like the sound of your system is you. So happy listening, everybody. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.